Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, teenagers. Good afternoon, champions. They said it's the emergence of champions, right? Okay, so I wasn't wrong. Good afternoon, champions. All right, my name is JOYCE AKUBUEZE. They prefer to call me Mama. And when they call me an ambassador, it's just because I always go around representing young people. It's not because I work with the United Nations. So before you start coming into my inbox, I don't have money. And I'm a teacher. That's what I do Monday to Friday. Yeah. So I'm a teacher, please. Don't let the portfolio fool you. Oh, well. I've been asked to talk to us about loving ourselves, loving myself, loving yourself. If you love yourself, let me see your hand up. Who doesn't, by the way? But if you don't, who will? Right? If you don't love yourself, who will? I didn't hear anything. If you don't love yourself, who will? Nobody's gonna love you, sweetheart. Nobody. It's one of the things that you are compulsorily going to do for yourself is to do what? To love yourself. Ain't no choice about it. You're not going to ask me whether you're going to put your head down and raise your leg or the other way around. You just have to love yourself. And I think I'm the best person to talk about this because I lived a couple of years in my life hating myself. Are you with me? Are you with me? I lived a good number of my years hating myself. Please, if you love writing, you can write it down and quote me on Facebook that you listen to Ambassador JOYCE AKUBUEZE today and she said she spent a good number of her life hating herself. You can quote me. Between the ages of 13 and 16, I hated myself with a deep passion. You know how you just hate something, right? You just hate something. And you know when you hate that thing, you don't want anything good for it, right? Hello? Are we going to do nodding and shaking? Okay, we're going to talk, right? Okay. You know how you hate something and you don't want anything good for that thing. That's the much I hated myself between 13 and 16. And here's the craziest part of it. When I was 18 and a half, I got married. Are you doing the maths? Is somebody doing the maths? Do we have champions in the house? I hated myself between 13 and 16 and 18 and a half, I was married. That's how I'm able to have a 29-year-old son. Right? The math is working, right? So, who is 18 and a half here? Can I see you? Please stand up if you're 18. If you're 18, stand up. I do serious business. I'm walking down. I'm not a panache speaker. I'm coming down. If you're 18, just stand up. If you are 18, stand up, particularly a female. If you're 19, stand up. If you're 17, stand up. I'm coming down. Please just stand up and save my time. I have 15 minutes left. Thank you. Thank you. How old are you? 19. And you? 19. You? 18. I was exactly like her when I got married. I just wanted you to see it. I don't know how to come and do preaching. I don't do lecture. I don't do motivational speaking. If you finish speaking with me for 10 minutes and nothing changes in your life, trust me, you're doomed. Trust me, I'm not joking. You're doomed. Because you're not going to listen to any other person. And you can't get any other thing from anybody. She's 18. Can you come, honey? Come. Wow. See me. Can you see me? That's me, right? Imagine me in a wedding gown. Keep looking at this is me. Look at me. In a wedding gown, right? Are you paying attention? Yeah, at 18 and a half. So she's 18. So she's the closest. Imagine this me pregnant. Are you looking? Then imagine this me carrying a baby. And keeping a home. Having to sleep with a man every other night, whether I'm ready or not. Are you paying attention to what I'm saying? And this me cannot define love, cannot define marriage. Doesn't even know what she's doing in that house. This me gets 500 naira every other morning when husband is leaving the house. But you see where the fun part is, what this me does with the 500. Go and sit. Thank you. I love you. Now where the fun begins is what that me does with the 500 naira pocket money. You want to know, right? She bought 3 books every single day. Never bought meat pie. Never bought sweet drinks. 3 books every day. The bookshop was near the house, and the bookseller got like he got so used to me, he would keep the books knowing I was coming. And before you knew it, half of the bedroom was filled with what? Books. There was something inside. Don't forget where we're coming from. She hated herself between 13 and 16, right? But something did not die. Something refused to die when every other thing died. There was something that didn't die. And that's what sent her every day to go and buy books. Even though she didn't know it at that time. I channeled all my depression into reading books. In 1 month, I would have read like 10. Why? Because I didn't even have enough love for myself, much less to give the man that I was living in his house. Do you understand what I'm saying? The only thing I could hide behind was what? I didn't hear that. What? Books. I kept on. The children came. One day I woke up and said, I want to go back to school. Remember, I was 18, so I couldn't have gone to the university, right? I just finished writing WAEC then. I woke up one morning, said, it's time to go back to school. I'm almost rounding off. I'll just tell you something that when you're going home, you must have lost your peace today. You can never settle again. So if you're 18 here, you're 19, and you're thinking, just because the society has moved on a little bit, you're thinking, okay, I have all the time in the world. Honey, you're late already. Do you understand it? All the teenagers here, you are what? I didn't hear you. You are? You are late, or very late. You're way behind schedule. I went back to school. How? Hobby said, no, you're not going anywhere. But this was the same person that stood before my father and said, okay, she's still too little, I understand. Immediately after the wedding, I'll buy the jam form. She will go back to school. And then I'm talking about like 13, 15 years later. And the same person said, no. So add 15 to 18. How old was I then? I was what? 15 and 18. 30, yes, exactly. No university education. But I knew something was about to change. I had read so much to remain in one spot. Do you understand? Just like so many of you will attend the next conference and the next and the next and the next and the next and the next, and you don't do anything with the information. Don't you feel it in your bones? All the ones you've attended, you don't feel anything in your bones. I mean, I read, and at a point, I couldn't sit in one place anymore. I knew something more was out there. The dead person came back to life. If I want to tell you why I hated myself between 13 and 16, I will spend more of my time. But just know that in a nutshell, I was grossly abused, molested so much that I stopped loving myself. Just know that. Know that I got pregnant in the middle of those years I told you about. Know that I didn't even know I was pregnant until I was 6 months pregnant. Hello? Have you left the house? Are you here? Know that I had to do JS3 2 times, even though I was the smartest kid in school. Are you listening? Anybody can get derailed. It could be from you, it could be from external influence. Anything can happen to anybody. So I don't know what has happened to you, precious teenager. I don't know what is going on right now. Refuse to do one thing. Refuse to hate yourself. Did you hear that? Refuse to hate yourself. Stay afloat. Keep your head above the water. Because you might not be strong enough to find yourself again. I was lost. And it took only the grace of God that I found myself again. After 15 years of marriage, I went back to school. And it wasn't because hubby was excited. He said no. But because love had come back, I ran out and went and looked for people, begged them to give me money so that I can buy the form. I found a kind man who I still have a lot of respect for. He gave me the money. It wasn't my husband that gave it to me. I went and bought the form. I got admission letter. I took it to the man because I found someone that believed in my dream. Are you here? He gave me the money to go and collect my letter. I went and collected the letter. He still went ahead and found a job for me as a school leaver and said, come and work here. I went home, I told hubby I had found a job. He was angry. My mom was invited. I said, if they want me to remain in the marriage, the only solution is that I will go and do that job. I went to do the job. Long story short, it was my salary from that job that saw me through NCE. Not a dime from hubby. Are you here? 30 years later, I'm still living with the same man. If you're waiting for me to say we are divorced, we are not. It takes a strong person to come through what I've come through. And you don't get away without a scar. So now that you have your whole life ahead of you, why don't you plan it better? Love yourself. Pamper yourself. Spiritually. Find God. Get Jesus. Take care of your health. Stay away from harmful substances. Do exercises. Don't let yourself grow overweight. What other ways do you love yourself? Find those ways. Love yourself. Choose yourself every time. It took me 15 years to wake up and say, no, you're dying, girl. And I chose myself again. And here we are. Immediately I finished writing my NCE. The same month I finished it. Because by then I was already on fire. Immediately I finished it. That same month, I took money, bought the degree form. I didn't want to spend 6 years lest anything will happen. I didn't want to even wait for 6 months. I bought the degree. I started it. I finished my degree. I had 4 children to take care of. I had a home to run. But I knew that Chinwe also deserved some love. Are you here? So if nobody is going to give it to you, you get it and give it to yourself. You owe yourself that much. Love yourself. And Proverbs 19:8 says, if you have sense, in my Bible, my version, he that had wisdom. My own says, if you have sense, you will love yourself. And if you love yourself, you will find understanding and good things for your soul. It can only happen when you love yourself. Is somebody reading it? Guys, are you reading it? You're looking. It is only when you love yourself that you can find good things for your soul. You will get wisdom, you will get understanding. Because you came here today because you love yourself, right? I see Hero coming and he said 5 minutes. Thank you, sir. I'm very obedient. Did anybody find it? Did you find the one that says if you have sense? So that they won't think I'm lying. If you have sense. So, we talk about sense every day. Common sense is not common. You don't get sense. A version of the Bible says if you get sense. Which means if you don't love yourself, you don't get what? I didn't hear anything. If you don't love yourself, you don't get what? You don't get sense at all. And you see, because of where I came from, the 4 children, the 4 precious jewels that God gave me, I made sure that when they were little, I started by firing them, replacing all the things that were missing in my life when I was 5, 6, 7, 8. Because there were things missing, which led to all the things that happened to me happening. I made sure they were never missing in their own lives. And right now, they are great people. They are beautiful. They love themselves. They are so confident in themselves. None of them lives in the house with me anymore. They live on their own, all of them. I made sure they were, if anybody, people here know my children. The 4 most confident persons you can find. Because it was naivety that pushed me to some of the things that happened to me. I made sure I didn't raise a naive child. I fed them with information enough that you couldn't even tell my 15-year-old child, you are beautiful. She'll be like, yes, what's next? Are you listening? All the things I missed, all the things I didn't have, I made sure they had it. So now that you're even lucky to have teenage coaches, which we didn't have you're lucky to have coaches, right? To have mentors. There was nobody to talk to. Are you going to take the little I've said, because it's 2 minutes? Are you going to take the little I've told you today and convert it to something? Whether you're a boy or you're a girl, are you going to utilize the little thing I've told you today? You are. All right, let's swear on it. Can we rise up? Your right hand up. If you like, raise it like Samson's own. It's very high. I, Chinwe. I don't know what your name is. I, Chinwe. Wow. Some people didn't say their names. I, Chinwe. Do solemnly swear today. Remember, we use an oath. An oath to self. That's what we're taking. Do solemnly swear today to choose myself at all times. I will not lose my voice to anybody. I will not live in anyone's shadow. I will come out as the firebrand that I was made to be. No distractions, no limitations. So help me God. I love you all. Thank you so much.